just that start was really bad. Just no energy in the start at the start of this game. I can't explain that. I just can't. We were not good at the start of the game. I thought our second unit came in and picked it up with some energy. But, I think we gave up 12 offensive rebounds in the first half, 13 in the first half. And, that's too many for an entire game. So it just showed that we brought no fight to this contest tonight.
Do you have concern now about a lack of momentum as the playoffs approach?
Well, we got one game left, and what I have to do is look at, talk with some guys. And, we're talking about we want to play, but I may have to make some decisions for some guys because our motor is very low right now. And, that effort that we saw at the start of the game, we just can't start like that.
I know you don't play until Wednesday. You have plenty of time to think about it, but do you approach it differently now? I mean, sit guys out, rest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I have to look at. Talk with the players and the trainers, and some guys we may have to make that decision for them. We're saying that we're ready to play and we want to play, but the play that we're getting, we got guys that we can put out on the floor and, get better than that. And I know it's not due to the effort. I know they want to do well, and, we were playing for fourth, still playing for fourth, but just the energy, the lack of energy, urgency to start this game, we can't have that.
Nate, are you concerned that this team has kind of hit a wall?
You think about that. We certainly think about that, and we talk with each other, the trainers. So all of our preparation, is based off of what we see with our guys. Not practicing, not having shoot-arounds, trying to rest guys, because I really felt that we have, guys have given extra, since Victor's been out. We've had to lift and ask for probably a little bit more from this group, since we lost a key player like that. And they've given it to him. They've given it to me. And, so, if that's the case, we talk about that. We've been talking about resting. Where do we go from here tomorrow? We take tomorrow off. We'll try to manage Wednesday's game as best as possible and really take this week to get guys whatever they need to get themselves ready for Boston.
How do you relight the fire? I mean, these guys, like you said, have given you a lot since Victor went down. Do you worry that they've just kind of run out of gas?
Well, I mean, we try to look at our guys closely. Me as a coach, our trainers, management, and we try to manage recovery and resting as much as possible. I won't say that we don't have anything, but we've squeezed them. We've squeezed our guys a lot to get to this point. And is there anything left? Yeah, I think it is. And we're in the playoffs. And we try to get ourselves prepared for that.
One last thing. What has been the biggest challenge for you and the coaching staff since Victor went down? Is it an emotional thing? Is it X's and O's? What's been the biggest challenge?
To continue to compete and win. He's a big part of anytime you have an all-star player like that go down, and you are in a race they've competed hard all season long. And then when a guy goes down like that, trying to stay competitive, trying to play yourself into the playoffs, we've had all of our guys to have to do a little more, give a little more to, fight for the fourth spot in the playoffs. And, that could have taken a toll, and we could have squeezed, and we did. We did. We had to tighten up and play as a unit and play together, and we did. And we was able to win games and get ourselves fight for this fourth spot. So here we are, and we have to go into the playoffs. We're going to have a week this week to get ourselves mentally, physically as healthy as possible to go into the playoffs.
Nate, how much did the performance tonight have to do with what the Nets were playing for? And they're obviously playing to get into the playoffs tonight.
We knew they were going to – we've been faced with this game playing for the playoff race and playing against opponents as well as ourselves for, since the All-Star break. Teams were looking at the standings. We're trying to, win as many games as possible to get into the playoffs. Once we got into the playoffs, now it's about playing for a playoff position. Most of the teams that we saw late in the season in the month of March were playoff teams. Whether we were on the East, the West Coast or the East Coast, we were playing against, the teams that were in the playoffs. I think it was maybe two teams that we competed against that weren't. So the game that we played tonight, we've been playing that game where teams were going to come out, and we have to come out with that sense of urgency for over a month now. And, but we just had nothing at the beginning of this game.
And then after the slow start, you're able to come back, and I think it was even, or you had the lead. And then Harris, I think 3 in a row from the three-point line. That stretch kind of was big. How big was that stretch there for them?
Well, I thought the start of the game when they had 2 layups, that were uncontested, established their tempo. They were moving faster than we were, cutting harder, playing harder, and we just didn't have it to start. I thought our bench came in and, got us back in, brought some energy, and was able to, bring some energy to the floor, get some stops, score some buckets, and get the game back under control. But, they established the style of play, the tempo from the start, and we never really got control of that.
How's Miles doing?
He's a little banged up, has some back spasms and foot. So he probably could have gone. I just, told him to put him on ice. And, we weren't going to take any chances.
Nate, did any of this start Friday against Boston? And if it didn't start Friday, is any of this a result of the hangover of losing that important game so badly?
I wouldn't say that. I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I wouldn't say that. I thought just tonight, Darren was coming back, and we wanted to get him back in rotation to get a game or two under his belt before the start of the playoffs, and he obviously looked a little rusty out there. And then we just started flat. I mean, we knew they were going to come out with a sense of urgency. As I mentioned, we've been faced with that game, a playoff intensity, really all of March into April. So that wasn't a surprise or a shock to us. But what we have to do now is look at Wednesday, manage this game Wednesday, and try to mentally, physically get these guys as healthy as possible before the playoffs.
Is that what you meant when you said you might have to make decisions for them? Were you talking purely about get their bodies ready, or was that more of a punishment thing, like you don't deserve to play Wednesday night, we're going to send a message to you about benching you? What did you mean by that?
We're going to sit. We may have to sit you. You want to play, but I may take it upon myself to say you're going to rest. Because all of our guys got something that they are, some tweaks. So, I applaud them for their effort. But, some things we may have to make a decision for them. Whether I rest them or give them a DNP. You have a question for me?
Coach, what's one thing from tonight that would help you in the future?
A better start would help us certainly in the future. That we knew that Brooklyn is one of the fastest-paced teams in the league. They play really fast, and that they are really playing for their playoff lives. And we knew they would come out with urgency. They play a small unit, so they play extremely fast out there, and we really didn't. We never controlled the speed of the game. They got to their tempo, and we really couldn't stop them.